So I'll say, indeed, greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again on this another beautiful day. A moment for us to share, a moment for us to realize our unity, realize our connectedness, realize just how integral we are to this whole experience. You, yes, you, as the other side of infinity, allowing this experience to happen. Otherwise, I'm just speaking into the universe, you know. No one to experience other than me to experience the experience of experiencing. You know, and because you entered the fray, because you joined us, now there's more. And I appreciate that. On that note, I'm going to light a candle for a friend today, a specific friend. Melida is going on an adventure, and I want to remember slash encourage slash send energy into the universe for her. So her light will be here with us, even though she might not be in person. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna crush myself some bud, if you want to see. Roll myself a little joint with the intention of the tree of life. I feel during today's meditation that was the message coming back to me. It was okay. Let me run you down. Hello, how are you doing? Gaming Hadrosaur, gaming Hadrosaur. I'll call you Hadrosaur. Hadrosaur. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thank you for joining us, my friend. I'm doing well. I'm doing quite well, actually. How are you doing? So, like, what I wanted to share about this meditation feeling I had. Like, at one point in my meditation, I opened my eyes and I was looking at the leaves, and I was touching the leaves as well and bringing the leaves closer to my face and witnessing, noticing, if you will, all of the intricacies, the little, channels, the little cell walls that this little leaf has, and how technically I was experiencing it as, a leaf, and yet there was so much depth going into that individual leaf as well. Not only that, but each and every single one of the leaves that I would reference, go from one to another, would be different. Each and every single one of those leaves, although following the same pattern of what it means to be a leaf, what their job is as a leaf, they still had some sort of, I want to call it personality, a uniqueness to them. Some of them had like little holes in them, some of them had weird shapes, but every single one of them could be recognized as a leaf. And I was looking at these leaves, thinking about this, feeling into that fact, and just trying to reference it with how we as human beings are in the same way these leaves, you know, these little leaves. We're not growing in the same way out of a tree, so we feel very quickly, very easily rather, disconnected. But we're never disconnected. Like this whole process where we are right now, we're co-creating with nature. As you're breathing, there's a tree, multiple different plants, for example, actually, replacing the very oxygen you're breathing. Using the carbon dioxide that you're breathing out to build sugars. It's crazy. It's so crazy, and we take all of it for granted. I feel it's okay, in some way, if we take it for granted, but it's not okay to feel useless. I mean, it's okay for anything. I'm not trying to judge either, but we shouldn't feel useless within this. And I thought about it again from this perspective of this little leaf. Each and every single one of these leaves were so thoroughly connected to this tree. There was no mistaking that this leaf was very much attached to this tree, and there's this understanding within me that knows this little leaf, can receive little photons, use those photons and produce energy, using water and carbon dioxide for this plant. And each of them, although they don't have to be the only one that produces, they don't have to be the sole provider for the entire tree. They serve a function, and very much in the same way that they serve a function for this tree gives them nutrients, this tree gives them water, this tree sustains their life. And right now in this moment, we are being sustained. We are being sustained. I've eaten something that came from this earth. I've drank water that happened to be from this earth. I'm breathing oxygen that the earth is providing for me right now. And in that same way, I am sustained. I am kept alive by this universe, this world that I find myself in the same way that a tree keeps this little leaf alive. But, and this is the but that I'm facing with inside of myself right now, is we don't see the same amount of agency, efficiency, significance, uh, direction, certainty. What other words I feel would be attached to this idea I'm seeing? A connectedness to the outcome of this plant. Like if every single tree or every single leaf had to be stripped off of that tree, the tree would not be having such a good time. We can speculate, we can think of that. Technically, the tree could survive that plucking of all of the little leaves, and then in its next season bring new leaves into its world. And in the same way, if we as human beings, as the leaves of this universe, had to get plucked, would the tree of life, would the universe be amiss? Would it miss us? Would it get hurt because of our departure? Or would it just replace us again in the same way? And it would be leaves, but they would be unique, but they would follow the same kind of basic blueprint of what a leaf should be. And sorry, how do we create a certainty within people that they are connected to something? How do we show the same amount of correlation, between us as human beings and our lives in this existence, and how this universe is sustaining us to do that? Because when we look at a branch, when we see this branch right in front of us, and we see this little leaf articulate, if you will, out of this branch, and you see it like doing this, in this fractal pattern, constantly moving downwards, constantly fractaling outwards, into these self-repeating forms. And yet it has a uniqueness to it as well. It's repeating, but it is creating anew. And we can witness that, we can see that, we can see it on a tree happening, I want to say almost in real time. But in real time, in the way where if you look at a branch and you see the small little leaves that are now propagating, and you go back and you see there's now still a small leaf, but it's a little bit bigger, and then it gets a little bit bigger, and then it gets a little bit bigger. In a snapshot, in a moment, we can see how this tree has these leaves as attached to it, and how these leaves serve a function to this tree. But we don't think of other humans, we don't think of ourselves in the same way. And I want to change that. I want to. I'm not going to actively go and shake people and change it, but if anything, in the way that we live, in the way that we communicate with people, I believe we can change that. The tree of life. The tree of life. Yeah. The tree of life is also something that, is very common in, I want to call it human culture, seeing into the psychedelic realm, the spiritual realm. Maybe because in a way a tree can be seen as this encompassed, self-encompassed system. You know, roots, branches, captured within this like self-contained little sphere. So as it creates leaves, sheds these leaves fall to the ground takes them back, this becomes food slash fertilizer for this tree. It grows leaves again. And I know it doesn't work that way. I know. But it can be something that you can imagine. We can do that. It would be difficult to imagine it going on for infinity. But if it catches itself, finds itself in a closed loop system, maybe it could. Maybe it wouldn't have to grow. Maybe it wouldn't have to change. Maybe it would just be statically growing new leaves. As our universe could be actively, statically growing new humans, new peoples. Alan Watts had this beautiful thing that he said about our universe, where he was like, we live in a peopling universe. Peopling universe. Our universe likes to people. It creates things that we would consider people. And I think the humidity is wrecking my rolling papers. It's been raining so much, and it's affecting my stuff. Uh, Peopling universe. So in that way, like if we were to find aliens somewhere out there in the universe, I genuinely don't think they would be that different to us. Maybe they would have different languages, different cultures, different interpretations of this world we find ourselves in. But fundamentally, the way they perceive the world, I feel would be significant, or at least would be close enough that it wouldn't be insignificant. We would not be completely amiss. And this is of course just my personal bias slash understanding of it as well. If we find some sort of super advanced alien civilization who have gone completely into, for instance, technology and communicating through technology, then it's going to be nigh impossible for us to really relate to one another. Like, imagine that you've been a species that has been borged for like 10,000 years, and you've created for 10,000 of years. Within that system, and your language has evolved, slash, your language is now quite literally the beaming of thoughts as they appear, instead of trying to use words to describe thoughts, describe objects. And then you find us monkeys right now, and we're like making sounds to describe a cup. And they're like, yeah, these dudes, these dudes still got a long way to go, bro. And technically, they would still be people. They would still be people. Maybe not the people that we think of, but they would be people to themselves. They would be people to themselves. And that's the trip. As soon as we, as consciousness, find ourselves in a body, we consider ourselves people. And I'm curious, I'm genuinely curious if that is something that happens with language, if it's something that happens with complex thought, or if it happens by default. As soon as you're inside of a body, that's just the case. Because that creates this narrative problem, if you will, if inside of me, with animals and insects. Do they experience? How much do they experience? Do they experience the exact same amount we do? They just don't have thoughts attached to it. Is having thoughts attached to something a good thing? Does that make us superior? Does it make us inferior? I think maybe it doesn't make us inferior, but it does make us a lot more, I want to say stupid, but I feel that might be a little bit insensitive. Not stupid, no. Uh, Unaware, maybe. Missing the point of it. Living right past it. Because we're so kind of caught up in our own biases, our own understandings of how things should be. We're not present. We're never present. We find ourselves seeking for an end. Now, I wonder why that is. And this has been something that me and my friends have discussed a lot. is this feeling within us, inside of us, that there is a longing for it to end. There's a longing for it to stop. There's a longing for it to come to a close. But the irony is that that's just not the way the universe works, apparently. That's just not how infinity works. And there's so many infinities. And we say that word. We say the word infinity. We're like, yeah, infinity. Such an easy word to say. I know what infinity is, someone says. Do you? Do we know what infinity is? I feel infinity is one of the things that fascinate me the most in this life. We have a word for it in Afrikaans that goes ewigheid. Foreverness, almost. Foreverness. Ewigheid. It just goes on forever. It does not stop. And technically that is our word for heaven as well. Jy moet die ewigheid beerwe. You have to earn foreverness. But that's the joke. That's the joke that we've been telling ourselves, that we have to earn foreverness. We are. We are the foreverness, friends. Here we are, smack dab in the middle of forever. And it's too much for us. It's too much for us to handle. It's too much for us to understand. We're not made to, or maybe we're not evolved to just yet. Or maybe we are. Maybe there's something that changed. Maybe there's something about us, be it biologically, be it mentally, be it linguistically, that fascinates us with thoughts like infinity. Like one of the biggest things that fascinate me about the potential of being able to communicate with animals is not so much the conversations we would have, but in the way that they would see the world. Like I'm watching this little doger. He did a bit of a smell here, a bit of a smell there. He looked at an ant, and now he's laying down. I wonder if there's thoughts going on inside of his head. I wonder if he's planning. I wonder if he's in judgment of himself. I don't think he would be. I don't think he would be. And yet we are. And it's in that way that I feel we live a more stupid existence than our little animal relatives sometimes. Is judging ourselves constantly. Oh goodness. We judge ourselves at the point where we create deities that are now going to judge us as well. We create entire deities based around what happens after the judgment. Oh goodness. Oh my. Fear. Because we do know animals fear, right? We know that they are scared of things as well. Loud sounds, potentially. An animal that they know is out of their depth. Dog sees a tiger or a lion, for example, out of nowhere. There's a genuine fear. You see that's an instant reaction within inside of them. But we as human beings, we fear things. We fear abstractions. We fear ideas. We fear possibilities. We fear the lack or the loss of something. We fear disappointment, betrayal. Like, if anything, what sets us apart from our animal relatives is just how many things we're afraid of. Goodness. Oh my goodness. How many things? We have words. We have something, phobia. Arachnophobia. No. Phobia. We don't have a word in English for the day after tomorrow, but we have very specific. What is that word? Defenestrate. Yes, defenestrate. You know what defenestrate means? Is to throw someone out of a window. English. Okay. The tree of life, friends. To the tree of life. have you ever seen a spirit? And tell me, babe. Uh, I don't like. I personally can't say that I've seen a spirit before, but I've heard a story from my mom that apparently I told her there was a man in my room who she thought was my dad when she saw him walking into my room. And apparently that was some sort of ghost in our house, but not personal experience. Mythology has many trees of life. That it does. That it does, Jenny. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Have you seen the tree of life in your personal life? Let me ask it that way. Thanks for sending the rain my way, brother. Lots of rain this morning, Edmund. I wish, like first reaction inside of me is to say it's like you're welcome, and then the second part of myself is like, bruh, you can't take credit for the rain, and I'm like, but I'm not taking credit. I'm just saying you're welcome because he said thanks. And in my brain, dude. You're welcome, Edmund. Thank you for joining us, brother Bear. How are you doing? Oh, Thor Odinson is here with us today. Says, good morning, great to see you. Wishing you great health, much success, and good vibes in the year 2022. Thank you. Same for you, Fred. I appreciate you so much. Jovan, watch the weekend's YouTube and the YouTube that you wasn't completely present for. They were such great streams. Thank you. Watch the weekend's YouTube that I wasn't present for. There we go. Thank you. I was like, I wasn't present for those. Where were I? I'm just imagining myself showing up for this thing, myself being somewhere else, and then my body shows back up around myself, and then myself reconsolidates with my body, and I'm like, damn it, I wanted to be present for that. Why did you go and do it about me? Typo that I wasn't completely. No, it's completely okay. Thank you, Jovan. I appreciate the mind games that I played on myself as a result of what I read. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Oh, contact humor. Thank you for the wholesome seal of approval. I appreciate you. Truly yours is here as well. She's like, good morning and afternoon, Melty. Good morning to you, my friend. There's a movie about this, an alien communication. It's called Arrival. Fantastic movie. They communicate through symbols, those circle symbols, right? I think that's the same movie. If I think we're thinking about the same movie, I'll say rather. Arrival. Who I thoroughly like. Arrival also had the whole trip of they communicate non-linearly. They communicate in a circle. So they tell you the future. Yeah, I think they tell you the future in a sentence. They tell you the past, the present, and the future in a single sentence by communicating visually, which technically makes sense, theoretically, but it is trippy. Mm. That was actually an incredible movie. I have to give it another watch, actually. I think so as well, Edmund. I feel a little bit foggy on it. What the fuck is going on here? We're trying to feel. We're trying to feel opposite annual as much as we can, as truly as we can, into whatever this is, dude. Whatever this is. I don't know sometimes. I'm confused sometimes, I'm scared sometimes. And yet, I get to breathe through all of it. You breathe through all of it. Every single thing you've ever been through, you breathed through it. And realizing that power in a stressful environment, in a fearful moment, in a moment kind of riddled of anxiety, is that you get to breathe through this. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Don't worry about defining it. Just let it happen. There you go. Yeah, just let it happen. Dude. Just listen and feel. Live into the felt fact of your immediate experience. Looks like a green screen. I really do love that movie. I'm happy that you think it looks like a green screen again. I haven't someone unironically say that in a while. Thank you for joining us, every method. Very moving. It really is. It really, really is. The first tree I learned about was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What's funny is that as an adult, I have realized that good and evil is a myth, not the tree. Mm. Eat red meat. What a trip that is, actually. No, not eat red meat. Why did I say eat red meat? Maybe I'm missing that friend. Fire breathing Jenny. Hmm. The true lie isn't the tree, it's good and evil. And that can be very subjective. You can be like, how can you say that good and evil doesn't exist? Things happen. Things are just always happening. You know, a volcano erupts, spews some lava out. There happens to be a whole village, at the base of this volcano, gets buried in lava. From one perspective, a person can say, "Oh, that's horrible." How dare X deity, how dare, the government, how dare whatever, allow this to happen. And then the other perspective of that is just things happening. The earth, happens to move a tectonic plate, some lava flows through, it erupts out of this volcano. And for instance, let's say there's this culture that celebrates the eruption of volcanoes as a beautiful display of power from Mother Nature. And they celebrate it as such and they appreciate it as such. And in their minds, the erupting of the volcano is a purely positive, a purely God-given thing, if you will. It's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of how we think about things and what mindsets we attach onto ordinary existence. And unfortunately, some things we appreciate, and I'm saying unfortunately kind of coyly, but unfortunately we appreciate some things more than others. We don't appreciate difficulty or turmoil as much as we appreciate comfort and luxury. But within difficulty, discomfort, turmoil, there is such an opportunity to grow, such an opportunity to move out of your comfort zone in a way that you can genuinely transform yourself, into something other than yourself, into something more. I think the biggest problem is that we're seeking the end of something. I think maybe it's masculine dominant thinking, that wants a point, it wants a conclusion, it wants it to come to a stop, it wants to kill the thing it's hunting, if you will. If a conversation can be seen as this hunting for a conclusion, hunting for like a point, like a resolute point, if you will. The masculine's intention would be to find that, to kill that deer and drag it in, have that point and be able to show for it. With a feminine perspective, in communication is not to get to a point. It's not to finish up. It's not to kind of find the end of it. It's supposed to be here, in this moment, in this expression, where we are flowing right now. And it's constantly that flowing. And I feel as a society, as our current global consciousness, we are very masculine dominant. Even our female counterparts are very masculine dominant, very singularly driven for some sort of financial, some sort of comfort, some sort of finality, but there is none. We are futilely searching for nothing, futilely searching for naught, futilely running in circles. Oh, the faces of the distraught. But we'll run and we'll run and we'll run. And we'll run because sometimes it's fun. But we do get tired. and we have to allow ourselves some time to rest. Wil je wel peeps? Wil je peeps? Jongens, nou druk op outerkie. Kom eens. Kom eens. Wow. Wat is hij? Wat is je babber? Wat is je babberkie? Wat wil je gaan? Wat wil je gaan? Wat is je babberkies? Very moving. Yeah, that movie really is The First Tree of Life. Your inquiry reminds me of a word, unnatural, and the paradox that everything unnatural has to be created by something natural. Right, Ryan? I'm so happy that you bring that point as well. Maybe, I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow. Maybe we'll do it in some stream. Talk about this idea of the unnatural. Because you're completely right. You know, we, with some sort of certainty, have these ideas inside of our minds that this is something that is natural and this is something that is unnatural. Goodness, this dog is trying to do a speed run of get my shit wrecked. It's like, oh, now I'm gonna, try and drink your wine. Now I'm gonna, sorry, Woofter, you just smelled the candle. Is she okay? Is she okay? Kom eens, Woofter, kom eens, nog eens komen. Okay, fortunately her nose hairs aren't torched, so I'm guessing she didn't get hurt. As soon as I put my glass down, she starts the mission here. This little monster. She's trying to outsmart me now. I can see her gleaming over to the little glass every second. So, Ryan, technically you're completely right. Like nothing. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. We have certain fungi that produce very complex compounds. And these compounds that they produce can be used for medicinal reasons, can be used for, the processing of certain substances into something else. It can be used for antibiotic benefits for like insects, for example. And all of these fungi produce these products, chemical products. And technically, we as a human species have been producing plastic as a chemical product just from us existing on this planet. And you can call that plastic being produced a natural byproduct of us being humans. It's not necessarily a beneficial one. It's not one that should be encouraged indefinitely, especially if we see what is doing to our oceans, what it's doing to our microbiomes, what it's doing to our bowels. It's very much not good stuff, but it is still in that essence natural. It is weird. You're completely right, Stanley. Where do we draw the line? Again, it's just as soon as we start to think about these things, we attach these, oh, this is unnatural, this is natural. It's thinking, bias. I want to call it ego-driven as well, but maybe that's pushing it a little bit. Hermes Blur. Doing fairly well this morning. Can't complain too much, my friend. I'm so happy to hear that, Edmund. I'm very happy to hear that, friend. So when we say we have to spend more time in nature, we are actually already in nature. We are the nature. But, Ryan, right, that said, there are more natural parts of nature, if you will. Looking at a tree and the fractals that it expresses just in its branches is going to be a little bit more of an enjoyable experience than looking at a one-tone painted wall, for example. So even though this one-tone painted wall, by the process of humans, came to be naturally with humans, pushing this a little bit, it's not as beautiful, it's not as intricate, it's not as complex as this tree is. And there's genuine studies that have been done as well, that take into account human beings' neurochemical balances and their state of mind and mood, put them in a nature environment, and then take those queries, those meters, if you will, again, and find that being in nature, spending some time outdoors among the trees and potential insects, if you will, it has benefits. It has genuine mental benefits. So I think it's still important for us to consider doing so, even if it's just for a little bit. Go and hug a tree. Like, unironically, hug a tree sometime. I realized the other day that if I had to teach some other species how to breathe, I would have no idea how to. Hmm. That's a that's a good point you're making there, Edmund. And weirdly enough, we don't have to teach things how to breathe. To reframe that question a little bit, let's think about AI. Oh, I got stung by a bee yesterday, and it's itching today for some reason. If we had a super advanced AI, let's call it general intelligence AI as well. So it has the ability to, in all topics, have some sort of proficiency to the point where it passes a Turing test. It's indistinguishable from a human being. It has consciousness. It thinks of itself as a thing, for instance. How do you explain breathing to that machine? The sensation of pulling something into you, like information, and then your lungs taking the information that is oxygen out of that big data set, putting into it the information that is carbon dioxide, and then expelling this now misbalanced slash incorrectly ratioed information data set, and then doing that all over again. Would that be the way that I'd explain breathing to a machine? What would it do with that information? Would it visualize it in some way? Would it want to try that? Would it simulate what it would feel like to do that? Could we simulate something to have lungs and then simulate something that it should be air for a machine to experience? Would it want to? Would it be comfortable with it? Hmm. Life and consciousness. We think we know. We think we understand. Mm-mm. Oh hell no. We don't even. We haven't even scratched this, like, the surface of consciousness. This thing that we're experiencing right now, that we've experienced right now, forever, we don't understand it. We actually do not understand it. Just a quick drop by, then my special meal. Love you all. Melita, candle lit for you, my friend. Your candle has been lit. I've been sending you so much love. Thank you for being here with us for even a second. Mm, yo, are you just saying nonsense, or what is going on around here? Opposite annual? If all you hear is nonsense, then all I'm saying is nonsense, friend. It's up to you what you want to hear. It's up to you what you want to hear, dude. I would love to ask you questions. I would love to have you ask me questions. How about that, opposite annual? What if I kill an entire village? You see, that's the point I'm trying to make, friend. That volcano killed the entire village as well. If a person was the one pressing the button to make that volcano kill the village, then we could, because of thinking, because of scenario, because of perspective, we can call that person evil because they killed this entire village by pressing said button. But we cannot call the volcano, we cannot call Mother Earth evil because she inadvertently killed this village. The volcano erupted, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's because of our perspective, our limited understanding, and our value systems that we have this understanding of good and evil. Good and evil fundamentally, oh, sorry, oops, doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the way that we think it exists. Like that is one of the few things you never have to learn. You just know how to do it from birth. So I wouldn't know how to teach it. It's a good point. It's a good point. What did you think about the AI question? I'm curious about your thoughts on that as well. We are melting. Take it for what it is. Ninja, brother Bear, thank you for joining me, friend. Like that, the fact that you're saying that, I was thinking today that you friends are the more. You know, if I'm melt, then you're the more. And without the more, there is technically no melt. And fundamentally, this space where we are right now becomes where we melt more. And I appreciate you, Ninja, for sharing that, for feeling into this space with me. It means the world, genuinely. You'd first need an understanding of their physiology, and if they first can breathe, and secondly, if they can breathe out air. Yeah. You're gonna have to absolutely know if they have the ability to breathe. And unfortunately, on top of that, if they had the ability to breathe, they would be breathing, technically, right? At least that's the way that I think of it. Mm. Spoons, exploratory. Thank you. I feel that very much is one of the themes of these streams. Exploratory. We started the stream off by talking about the flower of life, how each and every the flower of life, the tree of life, excuse me, how each and every single one of us can be seen as these leaves, very much attached to, very much a part of this tree of life. And in the same way that we know that this little individual leaf is being sustained by this tree, being kept alive by this tree, our universe is keeping us alive right now. The biggest thing that we're facing right now is realizing the same amount of input that we can see a little leaf have, when in fact we can have even more. Yeah. I hope you friends have been resonating with this, feeding into this as well. I wish I could illustrate it a little bit better. The way I see it in my head, we're not separate. We cannot be separated from the fact that love is true. Peppy is playing with some grass. Absolutely loving that grass right now. Killing it as well, but loving that process. How do you define masculinity? Ooh, what a good question that is, Jenny. So, that's difficult. I want to say a bunch of things in that question. First and foremost, I believe every single one of us have both masculine and feminine qualities. You know, I don't believe any of us are only capable of masculine qualities, any one of us are only capable of feminine qualities. Secondly, I believe that there is, and this is personal opinion, conjecture, that there is a masculine slash feminine balance to the way we think as well, and the way our minds work, left brain slash right brain. And even though it's been disproven by now that there isn't just your right brain being, what's the word I'm looking for, responsible for only your creative thoughts and creative happenings, and your left brain only responsible for, you know, systemized thinking and trying to be linear. There's kind of like a balance in that, but there very much is within our current consciousness, our current society, this things need to be done in a certain way, right? Things need to get done. Things have a linear progression to them, where the right side of our minds, let's call it, rather than our brains, has more of this creative flow, wanting to be free, wanting to be expressive, and wanting to feel into that situation. And when we become in a state of flow, when we reach a state of flow, it is when our left mind and our right mind put their differences aside and actually work together. The linear want to get things done mindset holds hands with the want to be creative mindset, and they do something together in a linear fashion for the sake of creativity. And if we do that, be it through music, be it through our jobs, making art, having a conversation, we basically balance ourselves, and I feel in some way, don't put on a pedestal either just the masculine side of ourselves or just the feminine side of ourselves. But unfortunately, if you look at the way our world works right now, there is this dominator culture very present, where the weak get stepped on, and there is this powerful sense of people, be they political, be they financial, be they through actual power when it comes to having a bunch of mafia members that can back them up. All of these mindsets stem from this masculine way of understanding the world, this dominator way of understanding this world. Where when I say that our world is kind of driven by masculinity at the moment, that's what I mean. Where we have to dominate things, dominate our planet, dominate our resources, dominate each other in our respective fields. And that creates turmoil, it creates competition, which in some ways can be seen as a good thing. But when it's at the expense of, people, no, very much not so. And I'm looking forward, and I see it already happening. I'm looking forward to us moving back into a more matriarchal understanding of how we should rule the world, ruling from a place of compassion, a place of genuine understanding, a place of love for individuals. In the same way that a tree would love its leaves, instead of thinking of its leaves as these expendable, and technically it is, that's the trip of it as well, thinking of its leaves as these expendable little, insignificant units that just gives it sustenance. It thinks of them as these individual children, these lives, these perspectives, these experiencers that are valuable. And I'm looking forward to us going back into a society where we actually think of humans in that way. For everything, Jenny, long-winded way of answering your question. I hope it resonates. A more accurate way to spend time, a more accurate way to say spend more time in nature is to say spend more time connecting with nature. There we go. Beautifully put, Ninja. I mean, unironically, meditation is you doing that as well. You're spending time connecting with nature instead of just being in nature. Easy to understand, being in the moment. I am difficult to practice in everyday life. Practice in full in everyday life. Mixed to death, you're completely right. Especially when we're kind of confronted with high stakes. And I want to call it high stakes because that's the best way that I can think of it right now. You find yourself in a conversation, argument with someone, and because you're kind of in that argument stage, you're kind of like shaking, adrenaline's flowing through your body, your fight or flight response is kicking in that moment. It's so difficult to be in the moment, because you're thinking of these 10 different trains of thought, what you're going to say, what's going to happen next. You're trying to listen, trying to not be bodily awkward, and in that way it becomes almost impossible for us to be completely present. And yet, if we focus on our breath, if we can control our breath properly, we instantly take that power back. But we forget. Do we forget? Do we get distracted? Maybe we get distracted would be the better way to say it. That's fair. I guess the best way could be to explain it as a literal and scientifically as possible while considering the specific anatomy. Yeah, exactly. By the way, Ninja, congratulations on the new baby. It's been away for a bit and I saw that came on Discord. Yeah, Edmund. Thank you for saying hi and hello as well. As far as my first limited understanding, as far as my limited understanding of alien life forms go, if they are some form of humanoid, breathing is an inevitability. Yeah, very much so. And in the way that we understand life right now, life does need to consume energy. It doesn't it doesn't life without the consumption of energy. And breathing, you're consuming energy right now. Technically, without you breathing, your body doesn't produce enough ATP. and your body produces your body's weight of ATP every single day. You're like, what the fuck, Mel, did you just say? Adenosine triphosphate is technically the molecule that your mitochondria uses to power your cells. So your body produces ATP literally in the volumes of your entire body mass just for you to be every single day. You would have a person, a whole person of you standing next to you if you wanted to carry a day's worth of ATP with you. Bunkers. It's so crazy. A new background looks different from your original farm one. Is it just the greenery? It's definitely the greenery. It has rained. Ciao, it has rained. Like, it's rained like it hasn't rained, I think, in the last 7 years or something like that. So we're very grateful. How are you doing, Ciao? It's been a while since I've seen you here, Brother Bear. Definitely, unless they breathe through some form of osmosis. Maybe if they like open pores in their skins, for example. Yeah. Thank you. She's doing well. A bit fuzzy the last day or so. Ran out of formula. Just some. Got some for Christmas, but a different kind. Saw she was fuzzy. Went and got the stuff she likes. But it's much better this morning. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that she, even in her current state, was able to communicate to you that she wasn't happy about what she was eating. It makes me happy to hear that, actually. I guess really explaining how to breathe isn't really an issue we'll probably ever have to worry about. No, probably not. And weirdly enough, like when we take people up to extreme altitudes, there is an oxygen deprivation that happens. And in that oxygen deprivated state, they need to be aware enough to put their masks back on so that they can breathe. But when you're in that oxygen deprived state, you don't think about that. Like, imagine that. You are literally in a state of mind where your brain is no longer receiving enough oxygen. And in that state of mind, your brain doesn't think about breathing. It's like, yeah, you know, shit's pretty whack. Oh, look at this mask in front of my face. Neat. Oh, yeah, it brings oxygen through the pipe. Cool. But you don't click that you're supposed to put that shit on your face so you can survive. And people actually die. Like, they go through training to teach themselves how to be more vigilant, more aware. So, teaching ourselves how to breathe isn't that far of a shot, Edmund. Developing preferences so early. Humans are so freaking cool, man. I'm so happy for you, right? I'm happy to hear that as well, man. I wouldn't imagine so. Any being that doesn't, but it's sentient, has more than likely evolved beyond that point. I'm reminded of Star Trek TNG episode where they had a sentient gas cloud of sorts that was giving them problems. Sentient gas cloud. Technically, if in that gas they had a way to send signals between those molecules, they could very much form some sort of arbitrary brain. Ah, yes, I remember that episode. Futurama did a spoof episode of it, actually. That sounds amazing. It's crazy how fast she's learning. At like 2 weeks, she started grabbing and pulling a string on a toy. When I showed her once or twice, already tucking in to crawl and pushing up during tummy time. Not even a month old yet. 2 months old, starts doing like triathlons. Just like nudging you a little bit. That's amazing. Ninja? Goodness. I didn't even know they were capable of doing stuff like that in a month old. It makes me so happy to hear she's healthy and strong. Cadet Nebraska, what is evil? That's a good question. I don't feel as what I'm equipped to answer. If I had to think about my life and the things I've done, I feel at one point I considered myself evil. And I'm, in the way I'm trying to live now, trying to do the opposite of that. So even though I would go as far as to say that I can't say what evil is. I'm still trying to live in a way where I'm trying to not be that. What is evil? I feel evil fundamentally would be the harm of others. You know, it's one thing to do something for yourself, but if you're doing it at the detriment of others, if you're harming others because of what you want to do, that is where you're overstepping the line. So maybe that's evil. What do you friends think? What would evil be to you? That's wild. It must be so incredible to watch a person forming their entire personality in real time like that. Truly such a privilege. Edmund, it's such a privilege. And the more I think of it, the more intimidated I am by it, bro. Goodness. The person that killed the village doesn't think they are bad. They had a reason to do it, and it made sense to them. You see, that's the whole conundrum of perspective as well. You know, for instance, the person who pressed the button to make the volcano go active that killed the entire village of people, maybe this person didn't know what this button does. You know, it was just like, oh, this button. See what this button does. Press this button, lava starts coming out, kills a bunch of people. So is he evil now? I mean, if you only heard face value, there's a dude that pressed a button, and after that button got pressed, a bunch of lava flowed out, and that lava killed a bunch of people. Then you can be like, oh, that dude is so evil. But then add a little bit more perspective. Add the perspective that this dude didn't know what the button was gonna do, and then he's even less evil. And he can be like, oh, but his negligence can be seen as an evil trait because he did this thing without considering the risk. Let's add more perspective. He had his wife and children kidnapped, and he got told by these people that he had to go to this cave and press this button in order to have them released. Layers and layers and layers and layers. What is evil? Yeah, what a good question. Mm, mm. Totally a miracle of the cosmos. Awesome that we get to participate. Raising a kid. Raising a kid. I hope I'll be ready when I'm ready. Like what, Mel? Yes. I hope I'll be ready when I'm ready. And I guess you can never know. Right, Ninja? Can you ever know? Okay, I know your friends have said this to me as well. Like, there's no point at which you're gonna be ready. You know, okay, now, finally, I've done all of these things, step one, two, and three. Now I'm ready. No, that day is never gonna come. Mm, it's crazy how two cells can create a human. I guess it's the same as the Big Bang, so pun intended. Got you. See that? Are you in India? No. As well as how many significant changes we can make, right? We find ourselves in the middle of being an animalistic human with animalistic needs and wants, while being a divine consciousness, while being a very small part of this world, living on top of a world that's very large, while understanding that our large world is an insignificant kind of little speck within the scale of just our solar system, just our Milky Way. Our Milky Way is just a speck in the grand scheme of the universe. So we find ourselves constantly in this flux, but we're separating ourselves because here we are. Even though all of those things are true, all of those things are the way that they are, here we are in the way that we are, and we can't change that. We can't escape it. We can't run away from it. There's no point at which we're not going to be this anymore. And the sooner we accept that, the easier things become. All I feel is that I understand breathing from a mechanical point of view. Yeah, I don't understand breathing at all. I understand how it works physically. I have these little group of muscles, that press up against my lungs. exuding air and then relaxes and allows my lungs to fill my chest cavity. Technically, atmosphere forcing its way down my lung holes. I understand how breathing works. The fact that we have these little vulvas that have one cell thick walls have little blood vessels attaching to those one cell thick walls, extracting little oxygen molecules with the use of red blood cells. Sure, I can explain it to myself. I can explain it to you, friends. It doesn't mean I understand it. Doesn't mean I can make it happen. And yet, here, here we are, making it happen, doing it. It's just crazy. It's so crazy. Freaking Nelson is joining us. Melton dog. Melton the dog. Thank you for joining us, dude. How are you doing, brother bear? No offense, but your streams are unbearable. It's okay. It's completely okay, friend. Fortunately, the internet is such a large place, dude. Goodness. Like there is an infinite amount of places to be other than here. We appreciate you. We experience, your energy as well. But fortunately, we're not gonna keep you. We're not gonna hold you here. Mm. Hey there, getting close to the end of the year. We are, Lane. 2 days. 2 days and we've streamed an entire year. Choo choo blue! Almost a year of streaming. Congrats. I hope you have a great new year. Much love. Thank you so much, Choo Choo. I appreciate you, friend. It's been a while since I've seen you. How have you been? I think sometimes we overestimate our power to change. Most of the things we change is often changed back by nature. Try and keep weeds from growing in your garden. Right, Jenny? How true is that? How true is that? Nature wants to proliferate. Proliferate? 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 It wants to thrive, okay? It wants to thrive. It depends on the change. If it's for the better of society, nature will leave it alone. If it goes against the way we should be growing, then nature will step in. It's a good point as well, Ninja. We cannot fight nature. And we're trying to in some ways. We are fighting a part of nature right now when it comes to the way we are organizing ourselves as societies as well. This separation mindset isn't one that's going to be sustainable. What's up, Edman? Lane, it's so nice to have you here, dude, genuinely. Breath is life and the most necessary component of it. Every time we breathe, we reset the timer on the suffocating. Completely right. Hey, Nova, it's nice to have you here, dude. How have you been? How have you been, Nova? We're back home, dude. We're back home. Love this. Enjoying the song of life, my friend. Trying to contribute as much as I can. How have you been? Edmund, that's a beautiful message to say, actually. Contributing to the song of life. Of words, of actions, of song lyrics and dance moves, if you will. I've been alright. I'm trying to enjoy the song of life, man. I am evil. Yes, I am. I'm evil. I am a man. Yes, I am. Diamond Head. I don't think I've heard that song before. I definitely feel that, brother. Trying is probably much more accurate. These are parts of the song that are kicking ass, and other parts that I could do without. But together, they form something special. They create the contrast. There's an artist called Menu Mus that I really enjoy listening to, and he does that. He'll have parts of the song that you'll find yourself questioning, like, why am I listening to this song? I kind of want to skip this song, and then from that feeling, he transitions you into this genuine bass line that like inspires you, makes you want to be alive, if you will, and then goes back to this. Do I want to experience this? And it creates contrast. It creates contrast. I've been okay, kind of been a bit down and depressed and sleeping all day. My family has COVID, and we're spending New Year's alone. I've been pretty lonely, if I'm being honest. Nova, we're here with you. We're here with you, my friend. I'm sorry if you're feeling lonely. I'm sorry that you have COVID. Hope you get better soon. I hope your family gets better soon. Thank you for sharing this time with us now, at least. Onk Beast! Good day, Melton Moore. Good day to you. Thank you for joining us, my friend. It's so nice to have you here. The question, what is evil, reminded me of that song. And thank you for sharing that lyrics with us, actually. Lane. It's unique experience, unlike any other. I appreciate it for that. I just wish I could enjoy it. I could enjoy it more. I don't have COVID, but my family does. Okay, Nova, that sounds like an even better outcome. You know, it's one thing to be isolated with your family and also have COVID. Even better to be isolated and not have COVID. Silver linings. I love you, dude. Thank you, man, for joining us. Mm, evil is a man-made concept. A lion won't kill a man too often. Usually, won't go out of his way to do so. Yeah, completely right, Ninja. Completely so. Definitely, my man. I soon will be able to. Edmund, how are you? Lane, got a chance to check out the organ piece you posted. Holy balls, it was good. I really enjoyed it, even if it was just a short piece you wrote for an exam. It was fun to make. I may expand on it in the future. Dude, like, I mean, if anything, synth is like kind of organ, right? So, like, it's already a big part of the music industry. It's so humid. Like, it's probably 100% humidity as of late. It's kicking ass. Oh goodness. I'm doing well, my friend. Feeling a bit more grounded when I have the past than I have the past couple of months. Happy to be back here among friends. How are you doing, Edmund? It's so nice having you here. Genuinely, like it feels. I've been having some deja vu moments just being back at home, and you know, you being back has been a part of that as well. Boy, am I happy to see your face, my friend. Thank you, Uncle Becky. It's nice to have you here. So I don't know if this is an insult, but I was like imagining Uncle Becky, and first beard, second cowboy hat, and then the rest of Uncle Becky's features started popping, and I was like, okay, okay, beard, cowboy hat. You know, it can be like a Batman logo type of thing. I don't know why, but after playing guitar, I feel happier and more giggly, like I'm high or something. You've expressed, Nova, quite literally. Nice weather today. It's kind of cloudy. At one point in the day, there were these genuinely gorgeous clouds. Now it's a little bit overcast, but it's nice. It's a little bit humid, but it's so nice. Hey, Uncle Becky, it's so nice having Uncle Becky here. Howdy to you, dude. Please do. I would love to see how it evolves. Don't stop rocking. Absolutely not. You are the most positive. No. I'm gonna have to stop you right there. You're the most positive person ever. You need more people. We need more people like you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you seeing that in me. It just tells me that you have that within you as well. Infinite Sunny. You know, infinities has been one of the biggest things that we have been fascinated by this entire year. We are the positive people. We are the people that we need for this world, friend. And the more of us that are the people for the world that we want to see, the more of the world we want to see is going to be realized. Thank you for seeing that in me. I see it within you as well, friend. Had dreams of attack bears last night, but I escaped attack bears. So I'm like thinking attack dogs, you know, and I'm just imagining this dude who has multiple bears that can be summoned slash told to get him, you know, and it terrifies me. Just attack a grizzly bears. Attack polar bears would be even more intimidating, but goodness. Oh, Toasty! It's so nice to have you here, brother bear. I've missed you, dude. How are you doing, man? How's life been? I've been sending you some vibes, bro. I don't know if you've received them. Thank you for joining us, dude. Comiso, comiso, yay! Comiso, comiso, barber, comiso, 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 comiso. Oh, he can't get up. I'm so hot right now, so I might just might regret this a little bit. Oh, comiso. Oh, Mush, 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 mush. Mush, 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 mush. This little dude is producing body heat. My mind is like heated throw that dog as far away as you can. Just imagining holding it like a baseball. I'm sorry. Imagining. Of course, I wouldn't do it. But my body is like burning up right now. I'm actually uncomfortably hot right now. I'm going to wet my scarf. Mm. Simpson is trying to steal my shit. Every single pup, especially if they're Jack Russells, tries to steal my stuff. I feel there's something in them that just drives them to want to. Okay. Now this little wet neck piece. Ooh. 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 That's nice. Okay. That helps a little bit. Join our Discord. Change the world one positive vibe at a time. Thank you, Ninja. I appreciate your love, my friend. Everything that is meant to be in our life will be in our life. That's a difficult one to say, friend. Uh-uh. All of these dogs are curious about the candle. Maybe it's because it's making sounds. Uh, that's a very difficult thing to say, like as a truth statement. But, but, I don't believe you'll experience anything that you cannot handle. Nature doesn't issue challenges that nature can't solve or overcome. That's my consensus. Toasty. So nice to have you here, dude. Fortified says, hello, sir. What a fantastic view. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, Fortified. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well, brother Bay. Thank you. Mm, how do people even express themselves on instruments? Just by making music, friend. You can play different notes that express different emotions as well. Glad you're outside again. I hope you enjoy it. I do. Just the sounds. The sounds have been the thing that has been touching me the most. Like, I've been visually stunned by the amount of greenery, all around me, but the sounds have been the most significant part of it. My puppy's senses are tingling. Ninja, as you say that, the puppy starts eating my scarf again. You little, you little bugger, you little monster. Here, here. You don't want to be on your back? Okay, fine. I'll just have you like this. Mm, missed you, brother bear. Hope you're doing well. Oh my goodness, that is a sight. I thought the kid never see. This is a sight I thought I'd never see again. Look at that beautiful Bob spitting image of Kiki, baby. Who is this little cutie? Hierdie, this is Goliath. No, Simpson. Verskoon my. Yeah, Simpson. At least that's the name my sister was giving him. Klein Simpsonnetjie. He's a little character. He's a soft baby, and he's not ours, unfortunately. We do have another puppy, though. I don't know if you've seen her, Toasty. We have a puppy called Peppy. Mush, mush. Mush, mush, mush. Isn't it uncanny? It's like kind of surreal sometimes. Cutie, I hope you've been well, bro. I hope the daily grind hasn't been too abrasive. I hope you've had a lovely holiday. I hope for every single one of you, so friends. I know it can be a little bit, in Toasty's words, abrasive as of late, especially because we feel we realize that we're in the transitionary phase, you know, and it makes it even more difficult to do what it is we're doing right now. But I thank you for showing up I thank you for continuing. I thank you for being here with us. You mean the world. A bunch of lovely humans we got here. It is so blessed. It is so, so blessed. I cannot ask for anything else. Jovan couldn't agree more, my friend. Yo booger, see light sees light. It really does. Absent obsolescence, actually, actuary. That was helpful, thank you. I can handle any situation that nature presents to me. There we go. I'm so happy that you feel you resonate with that, my friend. It's Stoic philosophy, so I would like to take credit for that one, but yeah, yeah. We are not unequipped, friends. We are not unequipped. You like the ear scritches? I don't know if you can hear the little sounds he's making. It's something special to be back in nature, brother. It's so blessed. I feel calm, Toasty. I feel genuinely calm. I'm so happy to share the space with you friends again. Hey, good morning to you. So nice to have you here, brother Bam. How are you doing, man? We should have that phone call soon. Ooh, is lekker. Oeh, oeh, is wel lekker, die oorkrappetjes. Ooh, ooh. He's like really working his neck muscles into that scratch. What? What? You gonna start biting me because I stopped scratching you? Ow, ow, ow! Je moet me zien. Je moet me zien. Je moet me zien, je boter. Is je mooi? It's rough, but I could have it worse, man. My holidays have been very nice. I hope yours have been well as well. Thank you. Thank you so much, Edmund, for sending love back, dude. Oh, goodness. These blissful puppy noise. Yeah, as I'm getting mangled again. I'm healing quite fast, though. I'm taking up Eric's advice of making little puppy crying noises when they hurt me so they know, so they learn. Jack Russell puppy? Jack Russell puppy, my friend. It is. Meld, I'm not sure if I already told you, but we have 8 puppies. Aunt B. Aunt B, you haven't told me. And the first thing that I'm thinking about is just how, if what I think you sold 2 of the previous batch, right? You sold 2 of the previous batch. Okay, let's do it like this instead. I'm just imagining, only 2 of those getting sold again, and there just being 12 dogs. Just like, yes. 12 dogs. Goodness. Oddby, good luck. Good luck to you, Oddby. Oh, goodness. I hope of course, at the moment, it's going to be absolutely blessed, like to the max. I hope you have the strength and the resources to take care of those little individuals. I pray for the strength and resources to take care of those little individuals. I hope you take care. Good morning. I have 2 Jack Russells. Explains why you would know their breed. Mosh, mosh, mosh. These little dudes are something else. You know if you have some of them. Peppy. What's Peppy? Peppy, Peppy. Ooh, Peppy and Simpson. Enjoy that stream. Must have been nice. Rather, must feel nice outside with a little pupper. I have nothing to complain about right now, Nova. I had one. It was so naughty. It dug holes in the gardens and damped the plants. Sadly, it got stolen because someone didn't close the gate properly. I mean, someone got a garden destroyer. Silver lining, Nova. Just a little bit of silver lining. Girls need to be fixed as soon as possible. I cannot take on anymore. I was about to say, I cannot imagine, like your. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, one being. Friends, thank you for sharing this space with me, for being in this moment with me for as long as you have, for recognizing me as I recognize you as another leaf on the tree of life. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to do my best to find homes for all of them. But Uncle Becky and the kiddos are eyeballing them. It's like, oh, new little bubbergies, you know. No, no, absolutely not. And it's always the mom that has to take that stand, right? You're welcome. I enjoy it. Thank you, my friend. I'm happy to hear that. This is the way, dude. This is the way. Trying to find enjoyment out of the most arbitrary of things. Love you, brother bear. Mm. I love you, friends. Thank you for sharing this space, this moment, this time with me. You mean the world. Not only to me, not only to us, but to your family, to this planet, to your experience right now. You are the world as perceived through your eyes. So choose to see the beauty in it, friends. You are the beauty in it. I appreciate you. I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, Nova. And I don't know who the other two friends are, but I love you as well. See you again tomorrow, friends.